Once again, we are back to our TOSI ecosystem. Teleophthalmology Society of India invites all the experts of teleophthalmology and also all the tele-optometry experts and optometrists to this our third session of this program. Today, very interesting topic. It's understand the implementation of advanced technology in teleoptometry. The speaker is none other than from Miss Ukti Vora from USA. So this time, Miss Ukti will definitely tell us about how do we implement, because the ophthalmology is developing very fast and digital technology has also developed a lot. How to implement this advanced technology in teleoptometry so that our patients in the rural areas and unreached areas get the benefit of latest ophthalmic treatment. This is TOSI, this Teleophthalmology Society of India. This is conducting regular scientific programs in the past several months, and Teleophthalmology Society is led by none other than Padma Shri Professor S. Natarajan, and with the President-elect Dr. Kim Ramaswamy, and the Vice President of Dr. Rajiv Raman, myself as a General Secretary of TOSI, with Dr. Sabyasachi Patnaik, the Treasurer, and over several members, Dr. Sheila John, Dr. T. Senthil, Dr. Abhishek, Dr. Ashok Nanda, Sandeepak Rai, and Dr. Kavita Rao. So this TOSI was born last year in April, and I think moving forward, and already we have registered the society, so that we will request everybody to become a member of TOSI, so that TOSI grows in a large number. So these few words, I welcome you all. Thank you very much. Now I'll request our President, Dr. S. Natarajan, to give the welcome address for the today's topic. It's over to you, Dr. Natarajan.
But I'm happy that ophthalmology and optometry are working together. This is my dream because of my father and grandfather. And I actually refused to do refraction because of my grandfather. He was very strict. He always used to do excellent refraction because he was taught in 1930s and 40s, and then my father also. So I hated the Ducal refraction book, but that's why I became a vitreoretinal surgeon. But now I depend on the optometrists to do wonderful refraction, so that even if they get 636 with the silicon oil, and then they can do good refraction and make them UNC 618 and maybe N6 with the best correction. So with this, I think we all have to work symbiotically. Finally, our patients will be the beneficiary, and we both are, both specialties are professionals. So now one is depending, that's why I use the word symbiosis. And I think the meaning of symbiosis, we have to depend on each other to take care of the patient. Finally, our patients should get the best, and hope whoever is participating can also give a feedback. I think every time Shweta asks for it, I hope all of you can give a feedback, whatever it is, plus, minus, good, bad. I think it's a whole idea of feedback is to improve our way of working. And we also have, as Dr. Suji said, Dr. Manoj Mathur, senior ophthalmologist from Hyderabad, is with us, and we keep talking about the Ophthalmic Society and our activities to all the ophthalmologists and the optometrists. And my dream as a president to see is to aim for blind-free India by 2025. I know it's an impossible task, but at least if you take the step like Vision 2020, they said everybody should have Vision 2020 in year 2020, even though it did not happen, but a lot of programs have happened. Similar thing, I'm hoping this blind-free India can happen. Thank you.
And I have a privilege to introduce Miss Ukti Vora here as a friend, as a very charming person, and typically because she has been an optometrist who did her master's from Lotus College, Mumbai, then moved on to California, did her MBA. But very importantly, she is one of the Indians, of course, in US, who's already typically, like we have everybody in US, a little ahead and advanced in technologies, but certainly India looks back and we can complete it. So she is here representing what she's already been doing for where we look at Indian optometrists and working with TOSI under the laws to bring in this system here. So we are privileged that Ukti is here contributing her time. She is Director of Clinical Affairs for an ocular telehealth company, which is based in US. She is actively involved in defining strategy, planning, and executing various services to build a robust telehealth solution focusing on the needs of eye care professionals. We know her also as a nerdy optometrist, a founder and host of first ever podcast channel for Indian Optometrist that aims to bring back our professional world closer. So even sitting in US, she is back here connected with all of us in India. She's also a part of Vision Science Academy US, UK, and is the Senior Program Manager USA. She has spoken in several national and international conferences, panel discussions, online webinars, and her key topics are telemedicine. She is also one of the instructor who has developed a course on telemedicine tips and tools for Gurumed Africa. Lot more to know from her, because today I would request all the audience and optometrists to actually be understanding Yukti is already at a platform where they are as an optometrist implementing, the technologies are there, and Yukti, we look forward from you to tell us in this period whatever best in this time you can concise to let us know what are the technologies. And as you understand, today is the platform for us in India where we're making a beginning. So considering that, we request you to introduce everybody to the technologies, and of course time and later we can advance and there is much more to learn, but an overview and how it all moves ahead. I think I leave the screen time over to you, Yukti, to take it forward. Thank you so much for coming in.
Before I go ahead with the presentation, I do know that I just have 20 minutes to talk about this vast topic. We're going to focus just on the basics to give you an overview of what are the things available and what are the possibilities. If you have any further questions, we can always do more advanced sessions, but I'll try my best to cover the basics and the overview in this particular session. Full disclosure, I currently work for Eyecare Live. So if you see the name of the company there, it is just because it is in the telehealth space. I am not endorsing any company, brand, product or services. You might see the name just because they are working in that particular space. So please do your own due diligence before, just taking my word and doing it. Of course, the name of the companies and the brand will be there in my presentation, just because I know they are doing great work and they have good products, but please do your own research before investing or doing anything ahead with these companies. So just few disclosures here. Before I go ahead with my presentation, I would definitely like to know you all more. So I do have few poll questions just to understand and so that we can have some interaction. I wish this was more in person, but I'm still happy that we have some virtual platform to discuss and talk about the new technologies. So my question is, I really want to understand if you are already using telemedicine in your practice. So you have 4 options that you have actively been using telemedicine, and you want to know more about what are the advanced technology, or you have never used it, but you plan to incorporate it in the future. Third option is you tried, but you were not very successful, so you discontinued, but you're still interested knowing this is where the future is. And the fourth option is you're a student and just want to stay updated with the latest technology. So please select whatever your options are. That way I'll have a little more understanding of how do I proceed with the talk. So you have never used telemedicine, but you plan to implement it, and some of them are students. So I'm really excited to have students part of this conversation. That's wonderful. So let's just go quickly over the basic of telemedicine delivery system. But just to talk about how do you deliver or how do you categorize the delivery of telemedicine system. It is done in 2 formats. One is synchronous, which is what we are currently doing, which is live video calling or live interaction or real-time treatment diagnosis. While asynchronous is something which is also termed as store and forward. It could be a text message, it could be an email, something which you don't have to do simultaneously, literally how the word has its meaning, right? Synchronous and asynchronous. Most of the telemedicine delivery system will have either one of the both, or there many a time there is a combination of both these services. I have also given few talks in the past diving deep into these basics. The link is in the slide, but if you want, I'll be happy to share more details on it. Another poll question, again, you can go as 1, 2, 3 if the form is taking a little while. I want to understand how many of you have a clear understanding of the term artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, just so that we can dive into the topic accordingly. So this is great. Most of them do feel maybe. So we'll just go directly into a simple explanation of how these things are being defined. So data is currently is considered like biggest asset, and it is of the highest value. People also predict that data could be as big as the importance of fuel or oil, that we know how valuable it is. Similarly, data is also considered to be extremely valuable. Now there is another entire stream for analyzing data, but to broadly put everything together, it is known as big data, and it is divided into two formats: structured and unstructured. When we talk about structured, it is, think of it, if you have ever done any research, you will collect a lot of information, but you will also define what will be in your, study protocol. Like, what are you going to take? What are you going to eliminate? Right? So you get everything that is your unstructured data. Then you start defining your parameters and selecting only things which are relevant to your study, right? That is what is the structured data. So what they take is, they take this entire piece of information, and then they're training computers or, algorithms to make them a little intelligent. Now, of course, it is artificial intelligence because it is being created by humans. It still doesn't have the human intelligence yet. But what artificial intelligence is focusing on is the fact that, it can help you predict things similar to what a human intelligence would be able to do. So it's more of an outcome of all the algorithm which is there. Now, machine learning overlaps. All of these do overlap with each other, but the first step is, say, artificial intelligence. The second is machine learning, where the machine is constantly given tools and algorithms to learn from all the data that is being gathered. So yes, when you say I maybe understand it, because there is an overlap, it does not say, it's not like black and white. You cannot have machine learning without the, artificial intelligence capabilities. So there are overlaps into it. Artificial intelligence is basically prediction of certain laws based on the logic and the algorithm that is being set within that system. But machine learning helps to make it more efficient. So think of it as artificial intelligence as one set algorithm, but machine learning makes it efficient. The more data that is collected or poured into this artificial intelligence system, the more smarter the machine becomes and start giving you more predictions. And deep neural networks, or like the deep learning, what people like to say, is when the machine learning will give you a lot more data than you have even, programmed it for. For example, if you are doing a study where you're asking, okay, tell me the difference of a certain condition in an age group, right? So that is your defined parameter. That is the research you're trying to do. Artificial intelligence will give you an output of that. Machine learning will become better in terms of telling you more nuances in terms of ages and refining it maybe as a smaller group of age as possible. But deep learning or deep neural network focuses on giving you more than that. So just because it has learned so much, it can also tell you maybe the height of the person, or some genetical conditions associated with other than just a male or female or age group. So all that is an additional piece which comes out just based on data. So there's a lot of information and a lot of computational things that goes behind this technology. I definitely feel for those who still feel it is maybe, yes, it is a lot of gray area, but do try to learn and keep yourself abreast with this technology. And what are the use cases and why are we even talking about it? So when we do talk about research and studies and, providing services to the patient, we know there's only so much that we have in terms of human resources. One person or a group of people can only do certain number of studies and research. With the help of AI, not just research, but it also helps as a tool that will assist you to help cater a lot of vision threatening conditions. Most common ones are diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, AMD, ROP, refractive error, and corneal abnormalities. It helps as your assistant, or I would say a technologically advanced assistant. And most of the use cases that we have today focuses on screening, where what it does is basically has trained the computer or the technology in a way where how you would predict which is normal versus abnormal. So thousands and thousands of images are being uploaded into this artificial intelligence algorithm, looking at which it will compare, and it knows what is normal, what is abnormal, and it will flag it. Many of these technologies can also predict hard exudates in case of diabetic retinopathy, hemorrhages. It will indicate whether it is severe, moderate, or mild case of diabetic retinopathy to help you prioritize the patient. You cannot see every diabetic patient on earth, but you can aim to screen every diabetic patient on earth, right? So that's where this is going to be possible only with the use of technology. And not just about these standard use cases that we have talked and heard about. We also know that retina is the only live tissue that you can view in a non-invasive way. For every other test, you'll actually have to either prick or do some invasive procedures. But retina is a live tissue which you can see just by a scan, and it is known to predict a lot more. When I had mentioned earlier about deep learning, right? So I am training the computer or the machine to only tell me whether this patient is diabetic or non-diabetic or hypertensive, right? But it will start giving you predictions which you were not even expecting, and that results might help you, determine so many factors like age, sex, whether someone is smoking, their AIC levels, the BMI, the blood pressure. That also helps in predicting, Alzheimer's, if you're going to have any stroke. So we already know we can do these kind of assessment in terms of diabetes, hypertension, all those stuff, but that usually would happen more on a later stage or when you see few indicators. Now imagine you have a technology or a device which is doing a scan and giving you the predictions that, hey, this patient is under a risk factor, kindly do additional workup. This is not replacing human assessment. It is just working as an aid to help you make better decisions in your entire clinical setup. There is a fantastic presentation by the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai. I also dropped that link. Feel free to check it out on, how Google is doing so much work in this space and making sure how we can use this vision or retinal scans to help prevent, a lot of health threatening conditions, not just vision threatening conditions. We go into another technology. How many of you do have a clear understanding of virtual reality, and augmented reality? Again, we can have the responses in the chat, please.
So again, it's maybe most of the time because probably people have heard of the name and many of them saying 3, but very few coming back with number 1.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Monica ma'am, for assisting me with this. Really appreciate it. All right. So yes, most of it is maybe or no, it's confusing. So let's go a little deeper into virtual reality and augmented reality. I would also like to kind of focus on the term virtual, just so that you, maybe virtual reality, augmented reality might feel overwhelming, but for my understanding, how I try to separate this and have a more clarity in my head, and I'll share the same with you. I stick just with the two words, virtual and augmented. So virtual is basically artificial, right? This is a virtual space when I'm talking to you. You're not really there in front of me. We are like virtually connected in two different parts of the world. So virtual reality usually creates an artificial environment. So it gives me a feeling that yes, we are all together, but in real world, you are in India and I'm in United States, right? So I would like to term it as virtually connected, just to make it a little more simpler in our heads. And it is usually associated with some device like Oculus is the most common one, which is like a headset which you wear, and you are basically immersed into an experience which you feel is real, and it just drives you into a completely different environment. It could be like a beautiful landscape. I know many companies use virtual reality. So you put a headset, you wear it, and it also lets you experience how you can see your vision with glasses versus contact lenses versus multifocal contact lenses. So it gives you these stimulations to help you better understand how will it look, in certain environment. So it actually helps you disconnect from the real world in certain way and see something, I know there are many people who play games through virtual reality. Now, augmented reality, for those who might have played the game, the Pokemon Go, I think that was crazy a couple of years ago, where people used to run around. So augmented reality is just, it is in your real world, but there are virtual objects that appear with the use of your smartphones. Okay, so you're still wearing, like you're still in the real world, you're not really wearing many objects, but you could have additional glasses or your smartphones that will help you see things in your real world, which are developed, and it overlays on your natural environment. Now, the third part of it is a combination of both virtual as well as augmented reality, which is called mixed reality. To give a simple example of it, is a hologram. So I'm not sure if you have seen any shows where it actually shows, like I'm sitting here, they'll create or project a holographic me in India. For example, I'm here in United States, they'll create a holographic person, and that person could actually move around the way I would do. So it's kind of a mixed reality. I'm not really present, but it will give you a vibe or a feeling that I'm present because they projected me in your real world. Okay, there are many even sensors that players and they attach in creating those worlds. Another example of mixed reality is what people are trying to build, and there's a lot of conversation going around this space, is the metaverse, which was a huge announcement by Facebook. We still have a lot of things around it, and there's a lot of clarity that needs to come, but that is another space or another term used where they're trying to combine both the virtual as well as the augmented reality world together. Now, what are the use cases? Of course, I'm sure many of you might have seen the two use cases which are currently very common: vision therapy, and it is used in glaucoma for visual fields. That instead of sitting in the visual field analyzer, the Humphrey, you can wear it on your head, in front of your eyes, and you can start clicking, stimulating that visual field environment and checking the person's visual field. It is also used in vision therapy quite a lot. Because it is device based, it is called virtual reality, or virtually creating a world. Similarly, in contact lenses, I had mentioned, it is also used as a stimulator to help patient understand, how they will get comfortable with, say, multifocal contact lenses or even multifocal progressive lenses. So it helps you actually experience the glasses even before wearing them or before manufacturing them. So that's where there are different use cases. Many surgical trainings are also being done using these kind of a headset to make you feel you're immersed in the real surgical world without actually having any, person and any real experiment that you do during your surgical trainings. It is mainly for training purposes. Okay, it won't really replace what you need to do. The glasses try-on, or like the virtual try-ons that are new up thing everywhere. That's another thing which uses augmented reality. So because your glasses, when you're looking at the camera, it uses the technology to help project that you're wearing glasses. It's not that you're wearing it. You select a frame and it will take your image through augmented reality technology. It embeds the frame on your face, and it helps you see how you will look with that particular frame. So that's one of the most common use cases, is the glasses try on. For vision testing, many companies use it for measuring, if you have to take a vision test using your smartphone and a laptop, you will need to stand 10 feet apart, for example. So you don't always have to take a measuring tape and measure it. Your smartphone will act as one of the devices that will help you measure it through augmented reality. So it will connect with the desktop and it will help you measure. It beeps the minute you reach 10 feet. So all that is, you're still in your real world. You're using technology to navigate and see things which are just projected in front of you. Okay, low vision assistant. This is another fantastic use case, which is where a lot of work is being done, where people are trying to help patients with low vision to have assistant. So basically it could be an eyewear, it could be a stick, like, they are the cane, which has these augmented reality sensors, which will tell them what they see. Is there a person in front of you? How does that person look? It will give them cues to see better. You can also enhance and make it magnified, so they don't always have to wear magnifiers. So there are different use cases where it can be used specifically for these specialty cases. Now, this entire advanced technology is divided into two pieces, hardware and software. Many of them come as a combination. So we'll go just briefly on what are the options and what can you be looking into in terms of putting it into your practice. So talking about teleoptometry devices, or the hardware piece of it. So there are tons of companies. I've just named few. Please do your research depending on what specialty you're looking to embrace this advanced technology in. But there are tons of companies. Few are based in India and few have tried to take it, few from United States. But basically they help you, say for example, Eyecare, right? It has a device that can be attached to your smartphone. It helps you calculate what your projected prescription would look like. So in simple terms, it would be your handheld auto refractor, right? So having said that, it is not accurate as doing a refraction in your office. I'm not even going to talk about replacing that, but it could be a good tool in helping you give prescription renewals to patients who can't always come in. It is a very small device which can just be attached to a smartphone. Smartphone is currently considered as one of the most powerful tools, and everybody is trying to do something which can be achieved with the assistance of a smartphone and maybe some attachment to it. Similarly, there is another company called Smart Vision Labs, which uses wavefront technology to do the prescription analysis and give you a projected prescription or glasses. Will it replace refraction? No, but will it assist you? Yes. There is another device from Essilor which helps you do an automated refraction. What I mean by automated is basically it has an algorithm which will assist anyone. You don't have to be an optometrist or an ophthalmologist to do refraction. It has its algorithm that will assist the technician step by step on how can they follow the steps and get the final prescription. And it is a subjective refraction. So the patient is responding of what they like. There is an option of 1 and 2 that they have to choose from. They refine using duochrome. They do binocular balancing. So everything is part of that algorithm, and it is trained in a way where you will assist technician to do refraction. You always need to review it, but most of the time the use cases have shown that it has, a very good accuracy. So without an optometrist or an ophthalmologist, a technician can perform refraction. Having said that, there is always a small error if the person is not qualified. So it's always better to be, reviewed by an optometrist or an ophthalmologist. Today, when we use this kind of technology in United States, it is always reviewed by an optometrist or an ophthalmologist. But to increase the volume and the scale of how many patients can be tested, this is one of the things which is incorporated in people's practice. Talking about the software pieces of it, right? So there are tons and tons of softwares available out there. Of course, some of them do come with a hardware component in it, and some are only purely software based. So it could go from as simple as, collecting information for the patient, or like say digital intake form. It then goes to like vision testing, color vision, contrast. So there are tons of tests that can be done using a smartphone with an app. Are they accurate? Maybe not as accurate as you would like, but are they a good screening tool? I would say yes, it's a good starting point just to help you eliminate, who are high risk versus a low risk patient. That's how I see technology and software being part of it. Then there are companies like Diagnose. What they do is you give them any retinal scan. They will run the AI algorithm on it and give you back with prediction. So say if you don't have an ophthalmologist on site, or if you're not a very if you don't have time to see every patient for their diabetic retinopathy, you send those images, and within few seconds they give you back the results telling what is the risk factor of the patients for diabetic retinopathy, as an example. So they will work as an assistant for you, and then you can review and confirm whether you agree or disagree in terms of the risk factor. Another company that I'm going to talk about is Moho Vision, which I highly recommend. If you are not aware of it, please Google it. They're doing a fantastic job in terms of creating contact lenses with augmented reality. So the contact lens itself will have an embedded technology which will project things in front of the eye. So their concept is, currently everybody is into fitness, right? We all have the app which will tell you how you're performing on a day-to-day basis for various tasks. Now, Moho Vision is focusing on not letting you, look away from your real world. For example, even if you're navigating, you have to look at the map. So you're looking at your smartphone. When you wear a Moho Vision contact lens, it will, and if you say I want to go from location A to B, it will project the directions in front of you in real world. So imagine it is like a mini projector in your eye, and it is actually showing things on the go, that now take a right, take a left. You don't have to look at your phone anymore. That is the technology Moho Vision is coming up with. And their main area of target is, focusing on helping athletes to perform better. And also they are looking a lot into the use case of low vision. IDX is another company which has got an FDA approval for a complete self-analysis of diabetic retinopathy without an assistance or without any human assistance, based on their advanced technologies. And Eylea, Ditto are the ones, who are into like virtual try-ons or binocular vision testing. So these are just few software-based companies who are working on developing these technologies, on digitalizing what you see in office into our most commonly used devices. It could be laptops, tablets, smartphones. Now, how do you start implementing teleoptometry, right? Very, very simple step. First is you need to analyze the gaps and potential opportunities A very simple step would be to just have a digital recording system or an intake form where you are digitally putting all that information that you're collecting from a patient into a system. Data is the key. You need to have, you cannot still write things on a paper. You definitely have to go digital, just so that once you have that data on an electronic format, you can then step up and apply these advanced technologies. For example, if you have thousands of fundus images in as a software, then you can run AI into it. Then you can run predictions. Then you can give, that, okay, based on the demographic of patients I see, I feel, this is more versus less, right? So it really helps you to kind of go each step up. You can start with simple technologies before you add advanced ones, but start implementing it today. So find your gap, find your potential opportunities. The second is to choose your specialty. It could be overwhelming to see that there is so much out there in each specialty. I would say pick one which is more close to you or to your patients that you're serving, and then invest in the technology that is available in that particular space. If you're looking for vision therapy, myopia, low vision, whatever you're comfortable with, start investing in technology for that particular specialty and grow your practice on it. Plan your budgets. Of course, all these technologies do come with an investment. So please plan your budget and keep a specific budget for these kind of technologically advanced services. Without this, you will become, I would not say you'll become obsolete, but you will become outdated pretty soon. And you can, as I said, you can start with a simple investment of, say, a software, but a combination of two usually works better in providing more detailed assessment and outcome. Now, what are the advantages and limitations? So it sounds fantastic. You feel, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is the future. Great. It definitely has a lot of advantages. It enhances the efficiency. It's quick, easy, gives a lot of information. It is cost effective. Once you're talking about the volume and the scale that you're able to achieve with these kind of technology assistance. It helps in early detection and treatment. There is no human error or biases, so it helps as your technical assistant. We do have limited human resource. As much as we would like to deny, this is a fact. Kindly Google the demand and supply. There's a huge gap, especially in India. So we need these assistants to help us perform better and screen more patients. It will, have better patient experiences. Everybody loves new technology, and people are very well versed today with, newer technologies, probably much more than some of us. So I would say, to have this advanced experience, to have patients be more compliant, it would imagine how successful your vision therapy practice would be if the patient doesn't have to come every week twice to get that vision therapy treatment done, but you invest in a software and they can do the testing from home. At the same time, you can assess them remotely, and you can show them the results and the progress. So the advantage of this technology is it creates a transparency between you and the patient. It also gets them involved. Today, everybody wants to be part of their treatment, right? It needs to be a patient-centric approach where I am actively looking on how is it getting better. It's not about doctor said, hey, this is great, and you moved on. They want to know how is it great? How is my progress? Can I monitor it? People have become a lot more health conscious and self-aware, and they want to be actively part of this. The more they are involved, the better is the outcome. So I highly recommend you to make their experiences more advanced, and it can also, as I said, help monitor the patient's progress. Now, limitations. Today, yes, we do have limited accuracy. Nobody was ready for COVID. There was a lot of hesitation in adapting technology to even begin with. But the bright side of the COVID was everybody is now involved in technology. We are having this talk, which probably we would have not had an entire organization focusing on this problem. excuse me. So yes, there is limited accuracy, but there's a lot of work that is already there which you can start using it. It cannot compensate for an in-person eye exam. I by no means say this is going to replace you. I just feel this is your assistant to helping you see more patients. There is a technology dependency on it. So you will have to have understanding of technology. There's a learning curve both for the patient as well as for the doctor or the technicians, right? So you have to learn on how to use this technology. In many cases, there are regulation and privacy issues. Many devices or technology are amazing. They're out there. For example, as I was talking about Moho vision lenses, right? They're fantastic, but they are still at they're still on more of developing and a testing stage. They are far away from, providing the product out in real world. So it's happening, but the product is not available even if you want to try it. In few scenarios, there is higher initial investment. Having said that, there are a few affordable options as well. Another limitation which I would like to say is when we talk about all these technologies, right, artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, there is still a black hole in terms of understanding how is this machine, after I'm training it for 100 images, how is it predicting to 101 image? There is still a lack of understanding from the entire engineering and the scientist point of view. And they're trying to learn more how is this intelligence being developed. Another limitation is many of these AI pieces work only with particular cameras in, say, for retinal scans, right? If I'm sending an image from a TopCon versus Zeiss, the accuracy will differ. It might work great for TopCon, but it might not be as accurate for Zeiss, that particular software. So there are few limitations on where the technology is there today, but there's definitely a lot of scope and a lot of things are being worked as we are speaking. So current roles, the next two slides is something which I completely am a huge advocate of it. So I would like to spare 2 minutes on this. One is, of course, there are many technologies that are now being incorporated in our practices, and I'm really happy to see that, whether it is online shopping, online courses, consultation. Some people have started doing online consultation. You do like trainings, you do these virtual webinars, which is great. But what I would like to see optometrists and even ophthalmologists to do and focus on is on the next slide, is we are the next generation, as I like to say, the next gen optometrists, and we should try to focus and be actively involved in developing these technologies. Based on my experience, what we see is usually the engineers, nothing against them, but they develop it along with, say, few marketing and sales people, but they don't have an in-depth knowledge of eye care in general. They might have few ophthalmologists as consultants, but not enough eye care professionals in general are invested or involved in building these technology. We cannot run away with it. This is what the future and the present is. The ideal scenario will be to be actively involved in building these technologies and being part of developing the gaps in these technology, because we know we are using it for our patients on a daily basis. So if you see yourself as building your own technology, or being an advisor, being a strategist, being a designer, whatever you feel you're comfortable with, but get involved in being actively part of this technology and this revolution that's happening in healthcare and vision care. Thank you.